Hey, welcome back to GP Outdoors. Just going for a little bit of a walk today. It's warmed up a bit from the negative 23 degrees from this morning. This time of year, I get that feeling that spring is just around the corner. Of course, it doesn't look like it yet, but I got that spring fever. My mind starts to turn to the things that I plan on doing or the projects I need to finish, going through this next season in the summer. Like, for example, my shed that's sitting there unfinished drives me nuts every time I drive by it. And I've decided, regardless of what happens with the wood prices this year, I'm going to finish that shed. I got to get her done. I was able to get a lot of work done through the forest over the last few summers. I got most of my trails blown through the forest, but I've still got a lot more work to do before they're done. And of course, there's a number of areas where we've got a lot of blowdowns or dead standing that I need to clean up out of this forest. At the end of the day, it'll take me a few years to get through it all, but it's work that you kind of plan on doing or you expect to have to get done, at least to some degree, during the coming season. And of course, firewood. Can't forget that. Got a lot to do this summer, as we do every year. A lot of dropping, a lot of bucking, a lot of splitting. But I need your help. I've been looking at getting a second chainsaw for probably a little over a year now, on and off here and there. A lot of you folks have recommended to me or advised me that although this MS-261 is an excellent general purpose saw, it's a good idea to have a second, larger, more powerful saw when I run into some of that big stuff that you see throughout the season. And I don't disagree with you. I think you're right. The problem I'm having is there's a lot of different makes and models out of there, and it can get confusing between different power to weight ratios, which one is a good reliable saw, or what the right choice is for me on the property here. As you know, Husky Bob's got 2 saws, and Neighbor Guy's got 6 or 7 saws actually he's accumulated over the years. And they both agree as well. I need a second larger saw when I get into that big stuff. Trouble I have is they both love Huskies. And I'm not saying Husqvarna is not a good brand, but after watching the 2 of them over the last decade, fighting away with those saws, I'm a STIHL guy, and I think I'm going to stay a STIHL guy. So I'm hoping if you have a few minutes to spare and you've got a good recommendation for one of the saws you use or you have used, that's a much larger, more powerful saw that you think is right for that bigger stuff, maybe that 18, 20, 22 inch or bigger stuff that I need to have on hand to complement my MS-261, I'd greatly appreciate it if you had a few minutes to let me know in the comments below what you'd recommend. Those of you that have been with me a while know kind of what I run into throughout the seasons here every year. What the forest is kind of like and what it's made up of and the size of the timber or the logs or the trees that we run into. So I'm hoping that might help inform what you think the right saw for me is. And not only the right make or model, but also the length of bar that you would recommend on that saw, because I think that's pretty important. I've got an 18 inch on the 261, and that works great, but once you get into 17, 18 inch or beyond, you're burying the nose of that bar into the trunk before you get through it. For reference, our good friend Chris from In the Woodyard has made 2 recommendations for me. One is the 500i, and the other one is the 462 CM. Now, I know that 500i looks like a beast and a gorgeous, beautiful saw. Not sure I could do it justice here. Plus, it's not cheap. It's about $1,700 Canadian plus tax here. And we're running 13% tax in this province. So, I'm not counting it out because I'd love to own one. They look like they're awesome. But I'm not sure if maybe that's treating myself a little more than I deserve. And Buck and Billy Ray got back to me yesterday, and he recommended that I get a 372 XP with a 28 inch bar. I gotta tell you, I have the utmost respect for Buckin', but it's a Husky. Nonetheless, I promised him I'd give it some diligence and take a look into it, because I do respect his opinion very much. So hey, if you do have a few minutes for me, I'd love to hear your recommendations or advice, and if possible, why you think it's a good saw or if you have experience with it. Remember, make, model, and bar length that you think would suit me well here and complement that 261. If it's a Husqvarna, please leave it in the comments. I will consider it. It just might be a hard sell, that's all. Have a wonderful weekend with your families. I'll see you again right here. Cheers.